Part two, guys. You are watching this video only if you have selected your topic and created your organizer and filled out the prepare my brain section for the topic that you chose. So we're going to dive in today to reading about a chameleon's life. But before we do that, I want to remind you of two things we've practiced and talked about in school before the break. One of those is that nonfiction readers need to pay attention to numbers and slow down. So the authors, when he puts in a number for you, it is your responsibility to stop and ask yourself, how is the author using this number? Is it telling me the length of something? Is it telling me the age of something? Does this number tell me how much, the amount of something? Because our job is to learn, okay? And the author's job is to teach us. And so when we come across a number, we will practice doing that. The other thing that nonfiction readers do is decide how they're going to read the text. So they look at everything that is on the page, and there's a lot here, guys. There is a piece of main text with a title that helps me kind of gauge what it's going to be about. But there's also a main photograph. There's a map. There is a text box that has some additional text, and also all of these other mini boxes. So remember, readers, that you need to read everything on the page, and it helps to have a plan for how you're going to do that. My plan is to read the main text and then make sure I kind of go in this order here. So here we go. Watching chameleons. And I see here it's a notebook with a little girl's name and a date, and it kind of looks like a diary. Today, I watched panther chameleons climb in the trees near my house. Chameleons are a kind of lizard. I live on Madagascar, a big island in the Indian Ocean. I'm going to stop there, guys. One thing I'm noticing is that the author of this is this little girl named Sylvie. And so I guess she really is writing a diary about what she's observing, where she lives. My brain went off and went, check, because I read that chameleons are a lizard, and I knew that. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back into my organizer, and I'm going to put a check mark there. This little girl lives on Madagascar, and even though I've seen the movie Madagascar, I don't quite know where that is. So I'm very thankful that the author gave us this map. And I can go ahead and I'm going to zoom in so we can all see it better. And Madagascar is here with an arrow, which is really helpful for me. But we're up here in North America, and Madagascar is all the way over here past Africa. Here's the Indian Ocean. So what that tells me, guys, is that I will not find these chameleons anywhere near where I live. Now, I kind of thought that they lived in warm climates. I was thinking even like Florida might have them, but that's not true. So the map was really helpful for my understanding of where chameleons live. It's the only place in the world where panther chameleons live in the wild. Wow, that's one of those wow moments, something that I didn't know. So in the wild, you will only find them in Madagascar. So that must mean like some people have them as pets, or you might see them at a zoo, but you're not just going to come across one. Here's Sylvie, the little girl who is writing this. So whenever I hear I know it's talking about her. This is the caption for the map showing me where they live in the wild. This is a picture of a male panther chameleon. And I'm going to read this text box. From nose to tail, male panther chameleons grow up to 20 inches, 51 centimeters long. Females grow to about 10 inches or 25 centimeters long. This is the first time I've come to a number, guys, so I'm going to model for you the kind of thinking that I would do. And so it's telling me 20 inches. I do know inches. When I think about inches, I think about a measuring tool. I think about a ruler. So if I get my ruler out, see, it's about 12 inches is probably about that. And so this is telling me that the males are 20 inches. So 20 inches is 8 more inches than this ruler. So that's a pretty big, decent size, much bigger than the lizards that I have ever seen. Females only grow to 10 inches. So here's my ruler, about 12 inches. And if I take a couple inches off of that, that's how long. So the males are about 2 times the size of the females. This box says, make a list of wild animals that live in your neighborhood. How many can you think of? Which ones do you like best? Why? The author is just trying to keep me engaged here by asking me questions. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to keep myself focused on this text, and I am making sure that I pay attention to the growth and change piece. And I haven't really learned anything yet about the life cycle. A colorful chameleon. The thing I like best about chameleons is their colorful skin. They can actually change their skin color or make it brighter or darker. Yep, got that right. I'm going to check that off. Today, I saw a male chameleon make his colors look very bright. My mom said he was showing off to a female because he wants to mate with her. Notice, readers, that this word is in blue or in bold, which means I can most likely find it in the glossary. But because this is epic, one of the cool things that I can do is click on it and it will give me a definition. To join or fit together, to come together as mates, especially, or to marry. Well, they're certainly not going to get married. So to mate means that they are going to reproduce, which means make more lizards. And I find that really interesting, and a change to the thinking that I had. So I knew that they changed color, but I said that they changed color to camouflage, and it's as a way to protect themselves. And it turns out that they are changing colors to let a female know that they are ready to mate. So I'm going to add that to my I didn't know. Chameleons change their color or get darker or brighter to tell other chameleons how they are feeling. They do this to show that they are ready to mate or that they are afraid or angry. Wow, how cool is that? Have you guys ever heard of mood rings? They're like jewelry you put on, and depending on how you're feeling, it will change color. That's kind of what this reminds me of. So I'm going to add that to my wow because I think that's incredible. So they can actually change colors when they feel something, when they're angry or afraid. So I'm going to write that down on my chart. But that makes me wonder. And so remember that we're reading with a sense of wonder, guys, which means sometimes when I learn something, it just makes me want to know more or question. So I'm actually going to write my question. Do you want to know what I wonder? I wonder, what color do they change when they're angry? What color do they change when they're afraid? Do you think it's angry? Do you think when they're angry they turn red? I don't know. That would be really cool. An important sign. The male and female chameleons mated 2 days ago. Before she mated, the female had brown skin with pale orange patches. Now the patches on her skin have turned bright orange. This color change tells other males that she has mated and they shouldn't bother her. It also means that she is getting ready to lay her eggs. Wow, how cool is that? So I think I have some learning that I need to add to my growth and change life cycle piece. So we know that the chameleons change color to communicate that they're ready to find a mate or that they're to show their feelings. And then the female, after mating, she changes from this brown color to this bright orange color. I think that's super cool. So definitely a change I want to keep track of. So I'm going to record that on my organizer. Panther chameleons belong to an animal group called reptiles. Yep, nailed that. Check that off. Reptiles are cold-blooded and have a backbone and scaly skin. The female reptiles lay eggs. Check that off. So far, almost everything that I thought I knew about chameleons was true. And because I took the time to kind of jot it down, I can confirm all of the times that I'm correct. Chameleon eggs. It's been almost 3 weeks since the chameleons mated. Chameleons usually spend most of their time in trees. However, today the female climbed down to the ground. She dug a hole under the tree's branches and laid her eggs in it. Then she filled the hole with dirt and placed leaves and twigs on top. Okay, so there's another change. So the female, she digs a hole and lays her eggs in it, and then she covers them up. Here it says that it's been 3 weeks since she mated. So far it's taking about 3 weeks for her to be ready to lay eggs. So I'm going to jot that down. Here's the female. She lays between 10 and 50 eggs at one time. That is incredible. So here's another number, guys. But this number is not telling me how long. This is telling me the amount of something. And I'm going to compare it to what I know, which is humans. So I know that like when I had a baby, I just had one, just one at a time. And sometimes mommies do have two babies. If Mrs. Mize had twins. But to have more than that is like really rare. So I can compare that she's having 10 to 50, and that is a lot of babies. Chameleon predators. After the chameleon buried her eggs, she climbed back up into the tree. Mother chameleons don't look after their eggs or their babies once they hatch. That makes me sad. That's why the chameleon covered the place where she laid her eggs. Well, that makes sense. She didn't want predators such as snakes and civets to find the eggs and eat them. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I've never heard of a civet before, but if I click on it, remember, it'll read it to me. Civet. I was right. It's been almost 5 weeks and no other animals have found her hiding place. There's a clue there. So 5 weeks. So far the eggs have been in the ground for 5 weeks. I don't know if that's how long it takes for them to hatch or not, but that definitely is a number I want to pay attention to. The colors of the chameleon skin allow it to blend in with the trees where it lives. This helps a chameleon hide from predators such as birds and snakes. Well, there it is. So I wasn't incorrect when I prepared my brain. So I can cross that off. That was true, but I have to remember that I did have some new learning too. Okay, so I confirmed something I knew and added to my learning. Oh, look at the babies. The babies hatch. It's been almost 7 months since the chameleon laid her eggs. Wow, 7 months. Today I saw something amazing, a tiny baby chameleon. It had hatched from its egg and climbed up through the soil. I watched all afternoon and I saw 20 babies in total pop up from underground. Okay, so real quick, 7 months. Is that a long time? Well, I can compare it to what I know, and that is when a human mom has a baby, she carries that baby for about 9 months. So it's not totally different. It's a little bit shorter than we would carry. A baby chameleon may hatch from its egg after 6 months. It can take as long as 13 months, though. Okay, so that was really helpful. So somewhere between 7 and 13 months. And again, if I compare that to humans, humans carry their babies for about 9 months. And then also when I think months, a year is 12 months. So it could be as early as 6 months or as long as 13 months. So that's kind of, I guess, maybe depending on the temperature. And that's another question. Like, I wonder why it would take longer or not. I want to point out, guys, that the author is not telling me what baby chameleons look like using words. He's telling me with the picture. And one thing I'm noticing is that when the baby chameleon looks very much like its parent, very much like the mama chameleon. And I think that's important to note because that is like humans. When we're born, even though we're super tiny and can't do much for ourselves, we look just like our parents, right? We have all the same body parts and we're just small, tiny versions. So I'm going to write here that they come out and they're smaller versions of their parents. Climbing babies. The parents of baby chameleons aren't around to protect them. so the babies quickly climb up into the trees to hide among the leaves. Chameleons are very good at climbing. They have 5 toes with claws on each foot. They use their toes to grip the tree branches. If they need to climb up or down a smooth tree trunk, they use their claws to hold on. I really appreciate this close-up photograph. Helps me to see how these would be the perfect toes for climbing a tree. A newly hatched panther chameleon measures about 1.5 inches, that's 1.5, from its nose to the tip of its tail. And so if I think about, remember that ruler that we had gotten out? So we say ruler's 12 inches and the baby is only 1.5 inches. So that means he's like that big. My goodness, that's really tiny, isn't it? A super fast snacker. Both baby and adult chameleons catch insects. Oop, got that. Today I saw one of the young chameleons catch a fly. The chameleon shot its long tongue out of its mouth. The fly stuck to the tongue's sticky end, and then the chameleon ate it. It all happened in less than a second. Panther chameleons eat many different insects like cockroaches, flies, and butterflies. And here, let me move this out of the way, we can see he's eating a dragonfly. Ooh, yuck. Holy tongue, guys. How long is that tongue? A panther chameleon's long tongue is about 1.5 times the length of its body. What? That is crazy. So that's definitely a wow. 1.5 times the length of its body. Guys, what that means is if you take his tongue, it is the same size as he is from here to here, and then another half of his body length. I wonder where all that tongue, how he fits that tongue in his mouth. That's great. Maybe I'll add that to my questions. Wow. Now remember how we're doing such a great job of thinking about these numbers, okay? Growing up, the baby chameleons are now 3 months old. They still have their brown skin. Soon the males will turn blue or green and the females will grow orange patches. When they are 6 months old, the chameleons will be adults and ready to mate. I can't wait to see the chameleons have babies of their own. Panther chameleons usually live for about 2 years. A 3-month-old panther chameleon. And you can see that at 3 months, she does look fully grown. So that's different than babies because they certainly aren't, human babies certainly aren't grown at 3 months. I think that's the end. Okay, so I'm going to go back and add some things to my life cycle. So I learned that the adults will change color when they're ready to mate, and then they will mate. And in about 3 to 6 weeks, the mother will lay eggs, and it will take 7 to 13 months for the eggs to hatch. When they come out, they look just like their parents, but smaller. And they, in about 3 months, will change their skin color. And at 6 months, they will have they will mate and lay new eggs, and then the cycle will just continue. So there are lots of changes in the life of a chameleon. Let me think. What else? So I learned about the life cycle. I had some moments that were wow moments for me. I also listed some things I want to know on the back, and there's some great things that I could share. So you're going to do this with your text. Thank you for sitting through. I know that was kind of a long lesson. You're going to do this with the text that you chose. And you know what? I just want Mom and Dad to just snap me a picture of your organizer when you're all done and submit it in the assignment. All right. Super job. Go read about something really awesome, okay? And pay attention to your thinking as you read. Okay.